I can't say cut because I just sneezed as soon as I put it on live, as soon as I go on. I sneeze. Hello and welcome. Little bit snuggy today. It's a little bit chilly, chilly. So welcome everybody. You know, I did do. I thought I was filming on YouTube the other day, but I wasn't. It didn't go live. I pressed live. It kept on saying, this little red thing. It's in the right hand corner says end stream, and it didn't go live. So I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. So who knows? Now I sneezed and now my nose is running. Life is just crazy. Whoa, well, Russell Brandt's streaming on YouTube right now. So, boy, that is interesting how many people just hate him. So, that's quite interesting and all that. However, you feel about that, whatever, it is what it is. But it is interesting hearing the debates about it and how people, you know what? It's amazing how people are going to make money off of just debating on him. So, either way, there's money to be made, I guess. So today, oh, here, my nose. Hold on. Okay, I can breathe. Sorry for the snarkling of the nose. I know it's gross, but we all do it. It's like we all got it. So we have this lovely sun in Libra with Mars and the South Node. So, how can you put it? Venus is moving fast. She's speeding up almost to the same speed as Mars. And then she's going to surpass that because she travels faster than Mars does. And then we have the moon in Aquarius, and it's doing its little squaring over to lovely Jupiter and Uranus. And he's I call it between a rock and a hard place because he's between Pluto and he's between Saturn. So it's a rock and a hard place kind of energy there. It's really interesting, a lot of people I've talked to and even heard on the radio and stuff like that. One of the stations that I listen to, she's like, "Oh my God, I can't sleep. I haven't had any sleep." So I've heard that from a few people. They've been having problems sleeping lately. Let me be able to speak. So they've been having trouble sleeping lately. And same my husband has too. I was okay, but still, this energy will make you feel unsettled, a little bit restless, overthinking. I think that's really comes in with that, a lot of that Mars energy that's coming forth, especially with the South Node. And the South Node, I feel like it's I'm gonna call it whiny. It's that whiny kid who's not getting his way. So if anybody knows a Libra not getting their way, can be kind of whiny, get upset, stomp their feet around, and Mars is there, and Mars can jack it up and make it, crazier than what it actually is. So there's a lot of what we call a war type of energy in the air. And that's a lot of what you're going to be hearing this week. You're going to be hearing a lot about the war type of energy, the war that's happening. St. Petersburg, part of St. Petersburg, over 100,000 people were without power. Now, that doesn't seem like anything, but it is substantial since there were a few things that they saw before this all happened, and having to do with booked your flight to Denver. Hallelujah. Yes, that's good. You'll be happy you did. It's the craziness of that energy, like you're going to be hearing, because now Russia is not accusing Ukraine; they're accusing, NATO and the whole bit. And then we had in our this. I'm just stating some of the energies that are out there. This is what you're going to be seeing. So you have in our parliament, they stood up and cheered a known Nazi that was in World War II. And a lot of the Nazis that came over from Ukraine said they were fighting for the Ukrainian front or the Ukrainian National Front or something like that. Yet he served in the special forces or special area with the SS with the execution of the Jews. Now, that's right before Yom Kippur. Like, I mean, that is the most holiest day in the Judaism holidays. I mean, it's not Hanukkah. This is Yom Kippur. This is a day of forget, like really big forgiveness and repenting and stuff like that. So we have this, and they're demanding an apology. I think there should be more than an apology. I think there should be a huge investigation on how could they have let this slip by. I know the man is in his 90s, but many were charged and jailed for the crimes that they did, and he did many of the similar crimes himself, and has a war criminal benefited off of Canada and our system. And this is the type of energy that we're seeing. We're seeing it, with what's happening within the Sikh community. That warring type of energy that's there. Being upset about that person who got killed or died or whatever, blaming it on India. So, oh boy, my nose won't stop running. Hang on, I'm on a roll, but I got to get a Kleenex. Hang on, don't go anywhere. Of course, Kleenex is at the other end of. Not really a Kleenex, paper towel. But anyways, got my Kleenex. You had to edit. I had to edit my comment. Edit my comment. Oh, okay. So it's interesting, this energy that's out there. Now, as we have a lot of energy that's really fighting type of energy, the war type of energy, we're going to be starting to feel it more. We're going to start feeling a lot of people, I guess, choosing sides. Just like, putting on, just watching uh that the Russell for a few minutes, and all the comments that are coming up in there are just, some of them are quite horrendous, and the whole 9 yards. Anyways, but that's the thing. It's like you're going to see a lot of people wanting to attack, wanting to be justified for what they're doing. All the people that are, backing Ukraine and I want to, kill the Russians, kill them all. This is the energy that people are going to be feeling. They want to be justified in what they do. He cut me off. I'm going to get that asshole. You know, this is when you get, with the sun and Mars in the south node in Libra, because you want to be justify my what I'm doing. I got to be justified in doing what I do. And it's like, do you really need to be justified in what you're doing? Do you really need to have to take that stand, or can you just chill out and take and people will come up, and they really want to have that confrontation. They want to have that toe to toe. And this is where it's, especially, since Venus went retrograde back in July, and she's still in her shadow. So she hasn't even come up to her 28 degrees to be out of shadow. So she's still going through that. Oh, I'm so hurt, and life's been so hard, and people owe me, and that that type of energy. That's Venus retrograded in in a place where she really wants to have fun, but she can't have fun because, oh, I'm still trying to get through this. It's like people still, um, people who are trying to get out of Burning Man. Um, this is to remember not to go crazy, not to you might hear the battle cry. Don't go. Don't go towards the battle cry, because you're going to hear it. You're going to have that feeling. I got to go. I got to fight for this justice. It's like, really, you have to take that back seat and look at the whole thing. And what you're seeing, especially with this Russian Ukraine war, this proxy war that is happening in the world right now, it's, you know, people are just wanting something big to happen. And I'm saying, I like the way it's playing out right now. I don't need anything big to happen. I don't need any nuclear explosion to go on. But we're seeing, this play, this whole propaganda that's coming out, especially with, where Uranus is in Neptune, and now the moon, in Aquarius. It's just this craziness of energies that are coming through. And this craziness of energies that are coming through are really wanting to um control control a narrative, control how it's, even point fingers, look at, I knew you would act that way, kind of thing. um in Down in the States, they're really trying to rewrite history and blame um the Russians for dropping the bomb on Hiroshima, which was just like, where where did that come from? um it's those things that's, trying to rewrite the history, trying to, say this didn't happen. And what I find is fabulous, this is a fabulous point, is, you know what, let them say what they're saying, because then you're seeing their true colors. Right? This is freedom of speech. Let me hear what you have to say, because if I hear what you have to say, then I know who you are and I understand where you come from. Instead of having you go and hide somewhere and whisper these things behind backs, because things that are deep seated in the ground, things that get deep seated in the ground can really fester and grow into some really ugly weeds and get some roots down in areas that you will be digging for months trying to get that bloody weed out, right? Because the way it's festered and gone through. So it's better to see them and hear what they have to say than try to shut them down. And when you then you can actually just stand up to them. Then you can actually say, point out their flaws, point out where they have gone wrong, or show them the evidence, show them the proof that yes, this did happen, or this did go on. This is where, we have to come into a place of, and the word reverence comes in, a place of reverence. And this place of reverence, and coming into this place of reverence, is that you really have to not go into the judgment part. And that's going to be very difficult. Not go into the place that pokes you, to aggravate you, to come out of that place of reverence. Because the place of reverence that the energies want to take you is a place where you can have discernment. And when you can have the discernment, then you can understand and look at what's going on, take the evidence the way it comes in, see how it plays, and see how it holds for you. Is this something that really holds, something that is passionate to you, that is that holds something deep for you? Or is it something that is like, okay, that's very interesting. I don't agree with it, but I'm certainly not going to follow it, right? And that's where it is, because you don't want to get into the war. You don't want to get into that energy, because that energy is really going to bring in divisions. And in those divisions is really going to bring in some deep seated propaganda. And they just keep showing me really deep seated mud. So it'll get you into a place that you don't want to go. It's coming to a place of peace. Even with, you see how they're trying to play on people's emotions. We're putting this censor bill out for the children. We're lighting up the Empire State Building like a hypodermic needle, so that you can understand, in Pfizer's colors, that you can understand that we want you to, stand together with all of us. The Empire State Building is such a symbolic um symbol within the states, right? A symbol of something that was erected and made strong and sturdy, and it stood the test of time, blah blah blah. So this is where you're going to really look at it and say, okay, I get where they're coming from. but I'm not going to step in to that place where they want me to step in. I'm not going to step into that place. I'm going to come into my place of reverence and discernment. And when I come into that place of reverence and discernment, I come into a place where I find my truth and my peace, even when I feel the unsettling of what I'm witnessing around me. And we are going to be witnessing and we are going to be hearing a lot of information that's going to really shake us to the core. And in shaking us to the core is really going to get us to try to get us angry, but we can't get into that ego illusion, which is where Mars is. Mars is in, because the South Node there is being a wimpy little whiny Libra. I can say that because I got a Libra child. And when he's whiny, he's whiny, like he's just like, oh fuck, like get out of it. And when they're angry, it's like they can fall into that south node, because that south node wants you to feel that justification, that, whoa, I'm so mad and angry because I didn't get they don't sell Cheerios here, can't buy my next box of cereal. So then you can get really in that ego high, and being in that high and mighty energy of saying, I am justified to yell and scream and throw a tantrum here because of that. And that's what Mars can do. And even with Venus just coming out of her shadow and speeding up, I mean, she's still like, I got a lot of wimpy, whiny energy that's coming in, and people being wimpy and whiny and complaining. And some of it's very narcissistic. And it's like, whoa, whoa. I mean, I think one of the biggest narcissists that are out there right now is our PM. I really do. He is just the way he smiles, the way he says things. And it's just like, almost like you don't want to fall into it, but you really want to go punch him in the face, but that's wrong. Like, you don't want to fall into that, right? And that's where the energy is. It's like, oh, I just don't even like you. It's like you're a kindergarten in the park, and I just don't like that kid. Boom. When I was a kid, that reminds me of a story. I gotta tell you. When I was a kid, I was a little bit of a shit sometimes. There was one little girl, um, uh, Lori Fotheringham. I could not stand her. She was always whiny. She was always like, "Ooh, my baby, my daddy does this, and my daddy." It's just like, I just couldn't handle it. Anytime she would come in, like, I'd be riding my little tricycle down the block, me and my buddies, because we had our little crew. As little, that I was under 5 at the time. Like, I was about 5 years old, 4 years old, and I'd be riding my tricycle up and down the block. She would just have to get in my way, and I would just lambaste her every single time. I just couldn't handle her. And then, of course, I get in trouble and said, "Oh, that's not a good thing to do, and you don't just go punch people just because you don't like them." But why? Why can't we punch people because we don't like them and they're being stupid and they're being whiny pants and narcissistic? I want to go punch them, but we can't go punch them. It's not a good thing to go punching people as much as you want to. And that's where this energy is. It's telling you that, you just can't go and punch people just because you want to punch them. And even though you know what they are doing is evil and wrong. This is where, again, you got to come back into that reverence. You got to come back into that discernment. And this is going to be a calling. This is going to be where we have to align with others that are in that high vibe. We got to align with others that are really having that understanding, that want to stand up, and just, or even having that place to go and to vent, to let that anger go, because there is just so much, and it's so much that's going to be building this week. And especially with Pluto being on the natal Pluto of the United States, there is going to be retribution. There is going to be where people are going to lose their cool, People are going to lose their shit like crazy this year. We're going to see some really lots coming up on the finances. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be coming up on the finances. A lot of that's going to have to do, you're going to be seeing a lot more layoffs, which is what they kind of what they want. See, it's amazing when you sit down and you really start watching how they want things to play out, and you think, well, why do they want layoffs? Why do they want that? Well, if they have more people that are in layoffs or companies that aren't doing well, one, they can take control over that. One, they can start bringing in, something else to be able to control, the people. The other thing too is that if there's also going to be a push within a lot of corporations that are going to be trying to push people out just to quit, to walk out, so they don't have to pay, or there's no payment that the big corporations aren't going to pay. So we're going to see that's part of that Pluto thing. It's part of that disruption of the corporations, disruption of things that are going on. And that's part of the thing is like, if you put your whole soul and trust into that corporation, that's my soul being, that's everything to me, that's where you're going to see the falling. That's where you're going to see where people are going to be like, it's they're going to fall flat on their ass, and they're going to have to figure out something new. We're going to see that people are going to hang on to something so tightly that by the end of 2024, that's where a real shitstorm is going to happen when it comes to finances, when it comes to corporations, when it comes to people not being able to find a job because it's not going to be there. So this energy that's coming in now is saying, okay, got to come into your reverence, got to come into your discernment, start figuring, a lot more shit out. I mean, when I see this stuff, to tell you the truth, it scares the fuck out of me. Because for me, I look at it, I'm just like, holy shit, what am I going to do? How am I got to really, and it can get you into that craziness, but still I can see that so many are going to be left stranded, and there's going to be where a community has to come in, or people are going to have to come in to bring in support for them, to bring in something that's going to bring in that net. And it's not going to be the government. It's not going to be, social services, or any of those funded places by the government. It's going to be the community that's going to have to come in. But the thing is, they also don't want the community to be doing that. Because if I have the community come in and do that, that means, ooh, they're becoming their own sovereignty. They're becoming their own entity, separate from that, and not looking for the handout from the powers of be, because they're coming together. And that's where the truth of the real energy that's coming in, and it's preparing us for the onslaught that's coming forward, for us to be aware of it, to understand it, so that we can really stand in that energy of discernment and reverence. People looking after people, for sure, yeah, and that's going to be a huge one. A huge one. I've been watching a lot to do with England, and some of the things that I have. Like, we're not seeing this shit. This is a guy who's has a YouTube channel, and he goes around to different areas, like seaside areas that are supposed to be also beautiful and touristy and everything like that. And I get it, because I lived in, Penticton, which is a very touristy, not a seaside, but it's got two lakes there. It gets up to plus 40 in the summertime. It's pretty damn nice. Fruit trees, wine, everything. But there is such a underlying seedy side to it as well, but you don't see it, right? They don't want you to see it. And a lot of these areas, they've, sent, taken people from London and sent them out there because they're drug addicted, set up rehabs and stuff like that. Then if they don't last in rehab, or they can't find dry living, which means that you're living in a place where there is no alcohol or drugs, and you have to be in a dry place after you go through, say, a rehab of 45 days. You have to go into dry living for at least 3 to 4 months, sometimes 6 months, in order for you to find yourself a really good routine so you're not falling back. It's missing. It's missing there. It's missing here in our own country, right? Um, it's sad to see. I watch a guy here in Calgary, and he's on TikTok, and fall. And he just drives up and down the alleys. And what he does is that he gives out food and stuff to the homeless, and tents, and if they need something, or a sleeping bag and stuff. And it's amazing. Like, a lot of these people you wouldn't even know were there. And this is where, again, the community and stuff like that. And I said to Steve, I said, okay, when I get paid, I'm going to send him a note. Where are you? I got a bunch of sandwiches for you. And bring them down some sandwiches and stuff. Or, buy a case of water and say, hey, where are you? I'm going to deliver a case of water to you. Where are you tonight? And drop it off for them. This is where community in action happens. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it does have an effect. That gets you out of that war energy, and it gets you into a place where you are having more empathy, more humility, and it brings you actually that joy. And it helps to get you to have a better understanding. Okay, you know what? This is what's going to help the community. This is what's going to help people to get the help that they need, because a lot of shit's just whoopsie.
The shielded pepper? The shielded.
Whoops. Sorry, he's trying to script, but there's a lot of shit that's going to be starting to happen, and it is going to be a crazy battle, and we got to hold the line with love, and we got to hold the line within our hearts, and really hanker on to our God, whatever God you believe in, or divine, or whatever it is for you, but to hold on to that within inside of you. And when you do that, you're going to find that you're going to be a lot stronger and able to take those steps, one step in front of the other, to create a better world in a lot of where there's going to be a lot of trouble. There's going to be a lot of businesses that are going to be needing help and restructuring, and mentoring. I think some companies are going to be having to get a mentor in or something to help them to mentor their company, to help them to restructure, how they need to, because sometimes when you're in the middle of something, you don't really know that something's wrong because you can't see it because you're in the middle. So having somebody to come in from the outside to help them, being able, like a lot of companies and stuff like that, being able to talk to their people, come down from the office and say, hey, this is the shit that's going on, this is what we're doing right now, we need to pull together because I want to keep my crew. That's what's going to make that, those are going to be the ones that are going to last. Those are going to be the corporations that are going to go on and succeed very well, over the next several years. But it's going to have to be where they really have to pull in. We're seeing big companies like John Deere laying off. So we know that farmers aren't buying new equipment. They're fixing the old equipment, or they're selling off some equipment, and people are buying used. So we're going to see things like that, big farm equipment go very cheap. Um, it's going to be where a lot of people are going to be selling off a lot of this could be a great time for people if you want to open up a secondhand store. I'd love to open up a secondhand store, and you want to start buying things on the cheap. This is going to be a great time to buy things on the cheap and being able to resell them, right? Um, there are going to be some great, beautiful opportunities for people, but we got to hold the line, and hold the line with love, and do everything that we do with love. And that's what's going to make a big change and a big difference, even when housing prices start to fall off, and the housing prices start to go crazy, right? Because people aren't going to have the money. This isn't like 2000. It's like 2008, but it's not like 2008. There's a lot more people that are going to be affected with everything. and a lot more people because they have lived they've lived well, there's a whole generation that never never had to drink from a hose. There's a whole generation that, that didn't have or didn't know what a wooden spoon was, right? Um, it is funny because I was watching my German in Venice and he's shopping with his mother, and there's at this one flea market, anyways, in Germany, this one guy did all these carving of different utensils for the kitchen and stuff, and he pulls up and he goes, "Remember what this was for, Mom?" And she goes, "Yes, spanking you." I laugh because it's true, because he's 55. He grew up in the same generation as I did. We knew what the wooden spoon was, but there's a whole generation that didn't have that because we didn't want to hurt their feelings. And now we find that they're the ones that are going to be really hit, financially, hugely, because they don't know how to deal with to be without, to be without. And to and that's where again we're going to get the frustration, we're going to get the war energy coming in, like, I'm justified, I need this because I got a ribbon for placement. Well, that means nothing in the real world. A ribbon for placement means nothing in the real world. You either come in first or you come in last. That's it. You know, second and third. Okay, we'll give you that. But that's where where they're going to find it very difficult. Very difficult. And that's where a lot of drug abuse, it triggers many different things with them, a lot of insecurities. Got to pop off for a call. Have a great day. Thank you, Dana. Have a fabulous one. That's where you find a lot of big issues with people, that are going to be happening. So it's going to be very interesting in the next coming weeks how things are coming. Yeah, come this week. This week is really going to be the huge tip. This is going to be the tipping of everything, and things are going to start to accelerate from here. So let's pull out some cards. Wisdom, and then we're going to pull out some tarot cards as well. If you're wanting to come with me on September 30th to Cat and the Fiddle here in Calgary, I'm going to be going to, it's a haunted pub here in Calgary. And we are also going to go down to the Kensington pub. It's another haunted pub here in Calgary. We're not going to go to the Ship and Anchor one. That we can do that another time. And then do a little walk around Kensington. And plus they're doing so much construction in Kensington right now. It's stirring some shit up, baby. So that's going to be interesting. So we're going to be going to do that. So if you want to join me, let me know. It's $25. Does not include your drinks or your food or anything, but it includes me. It includes me. So if you'd like to join me, definitely. You'll have to drive yourself. So we're not going to let you get really drunk and bombed out of your head. So that's not the focus of this. So if you're really wanting to join me, let me know. We're going on the 30th. And we also have, what else do we have going on? We have a few things going on. We got the October 21st and 22nd Vision Board Virtual Retreat. That's going to be a blast. That one is based off my Journey Club. So in a Journey Club, it's going to be Journey Club in 2 days. So if anybody took the Journey Club, it's going to be intensive Journey Club doing a vision board in 2 days. Don't worry, it's not going to be that bad. But there's going to be a really great workbook that you can take, that you can print off, and you can utilize it and continue working on it for as you're going into 2024. First card. Ooh, Diamond Dreamer. Material wealth and true prosperity. That's interesting. So we have the diamond dealer coming in, and it's like the genie. He's a genie. He's a genie that's coming out of the. So you got to be careful. Genies don't. Genies can be trickster. You know, You say you want $1 million, and then you get the $1 million in a very obscure way. You don't get it the way that you thought that you would get it, right? So when it comes to a diamond dealer, I think you got to know what your truth is, right? Be sure you truly want what you want. Yeah, and think you got to think about your desires. Yeah, because you got to really look at what do you really truly desire, right? Thanks, Jen. I'm coming back to Manville. I'll be there the weekend after Thanksgiving. So I will be in Manville, and I'll be doing readings, and I'm also doing a ghost walk. We might even go into a got off topic again. How crazy is that? We might I don't know if she's able to get there is a church that has become a B&B or an Airbnb. So if we can get into that church, because I know which one it is, because there's so many there's a lot of churches in Manville and throughout that area. But this one that's been redone, I know it's crazy haunted. There's some crazy stuff that goes on. So, yeah. Jen's go, yep, I know which one that is. And plus, there's so many churches that are there too. But this one, so if we can get into there, we're going to be doing a little bit of do a little bit of ghost hunting. Charlene wants to go to Manville. Well, it's outside. It's an hour off of Lloyd, but for you to get to Lloyd, that's quite a hike from Moose Jaw. You got to go up to Saskatoon and take a left. So we got all the manner of conditions will flow around you. Messages from spirit will serve you to guide. So this diamond dreamer is really, you got to listen to your intuition. Listen to it, because there could be, it looks too good to be true, right? It's like me watching a lot of those 5 hours it would take me. Okay. You got to look at where a lot of YouTube, like you see these YouTubes that I've been watching them, do a KDP, and you're going, this book will earn you $13,000 a month. But it's like, okay, that maybe, but that's that book. That doesn't mean your book is going to earn that $13,000. So you got to really look at and be guided in what you're doing, right? So, and honor yourself in that guidance, and not, because we're always looking, it's human nature. We really like, ooh, well, maybe this is going to be easier, because I mean, I love easy. I love easy, but the ringmaster of scrutiny. So be aware of the ringmaster, the discernment, clear vision, details. So even with that diamond, coming in, here's a diamond. It's beautiful. It's lovely. Look at this diamond. Isn't it nice? But you got to have discernment with it. You got to say, okay, is that really that good? We see that so often, that people are like the charlatans coming in, or the the guy selling the special uh snake oil for you, and that's going to cure all. It's going to cure my husband, it's going to cure my wife, it's going to cure my child. Well, you got to have some discernment with that, and get some clear vision, get the details, get the understanding, because there's a lot more that's going on than meets the eye. And when you get into, really, sometimes it's like, I don't want to do that because that's just so much work. But in reality, that work is going to pay off tenfold for you. That work is going to pay off where it's like, yeah, okay, this is what I truly want to start doing. Because this is like, the grand gestures are for other times. It's the smallest acts that really count now. So doing the little steps, doing the little things here and there, with what you want to do, what you want to create, that's what's going to make the huge gesture. And then we have the camel boy. Again, what does it say? Small steps, small steps, small steps, asking for help. Like, I didn't plant these cards. So that's going to allow you to create. It's like, Steve and I thinking, okay, well, we can buy a case of water, and then we'll bring it down to the guy. It's not a lot, but it's a gesture. Right? It's that gesture that you're doing, or a case of pop, or whatever it is. It seems like a lot of people love, when I watch it, he asks, do you want water or Coca-Cola? It's like a lot of people say, I want a Coke, because they want the caffeine, right? They want the sugar. It's another addiction, of course, but I mean, it's something that helps to keep them viable. Like water's great. Yes, they do need the water, but sometimes it's that sugar that they're craving for it. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic. So it's really watching, you want the material wealth and the true prosperity, but how do you want it? What does that really look like for you? What is that feeling you get with it? And this is where you got to come into that, that reverence and that discernment in order for you to take the small steps. And sometimes it's asking the help and saying, hey, I'm doing this. How does this sound? How does that sound? Throwing it off somebody, asking them if they can give you a hand with that. And with that overall energy, you got the Eagle King, angelic help, angelic help, bringing forth the angelic help, the bigger picture, because the angels can see so much more than we can. So asking the angels, as I said yesterday, asking Archangel Michael in whatever we do, asking for his help and his guidance. He has the sword and the shield and the chalice for healing. Bring forth that energy so that you can be able to stand and you don't get into the war cries. You get into the love cries. You get into the love energy, and that's where we want people to be. And it's going to really test us. It's going to test us in so many ways. So full moon readings are coming out this week. They'll probably start coming out tomorrow. So if you are wanting a full moon reading, I have 7 left for this year. If you want to purchase 7 and get the bonus, which is a reading for your 2024, it's $245. So if you want the 7 readings for the rest of the year, get a hold of me. It's not up on my website, but you can DM me, and it's either through PayPal or e-transfer for these, or you could pay $35 for the full moon readings. So full moon readings are coming out this week. This is going to be a super moon, another super moon, and it's the moon before. This is going to be sort of the trigger moon. I'm going to call it the trigger moon, as we're going to be going into the eclipse season and the lunar eclipse. So that lunar eclipse is going to be it's going to be an interesting one, especially where it crosses into and where it's going to be making an X between this lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, and the next one that's coming next year in 6 months. And it's right in Texas, just right in Texas, like right in that area. So that you're going to see some cray stuff coming out of there, Texas and Florida. I've already seen it, but a little bit more is going to be coming out. So sending you guys out so much love. So may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you, and all that you say and all that you be and all that you are. Yes. Onwards and upwards. Don't let anybody take your beautiful shine away. And yeah, so much. There's a lot there that I've been working on to better what I do and give you guys better pricing. So I have packages that I'm starting to do up that will probably be coming out in the next couple weeks, and working on that to help people to get better things for money, right? So there you go. Oh, what did I press? Oh, Daydreamer. Do you like that one? Hold on. That's the one I like. I like the ducks. Anyways, blessings, everybody. Talk to you later.